All right, well, thank you everyone for coming today. I know it's a beautiful day out. You'd probably rather be out in the sun, but here we are learning about AI search. Let's get a show of hands here to start off with. So who has used ChatGPT in the last 24 hours? Quite a few. And who of you have used Google in the last 24 hours? Okay, and who has used both? Okay, so if you look around the room, obviously SEO is not dead, but things are changing. This is probably the biggest shift we've seen in search since Google. We did have previously search engines like Ask Jeeves, Yahoo, and those kind of things, but Google algorithm has really been basically a monopolistic creator. They've had a monopoly on the search market for basically since I've been working in search the past 10 years. But ChatGPT, LLM models have really shaken the tree, which is a good thing for businesses, but it changes how we need to approach things. Obviously, it's super popular. 900 million users just back in December, looking at 1 to 3 billion monthly users on ChatGPT alone. ChatGPT taking up 10% of adults using ChatGPT now. So this is something we can't ignore. It's something we need to optimize for. But really, what do we do? I mean, there's been some pretty big impacts in the industry. Lots of people losing SEO traffic. Some of this marketing funnel, the pieces that search has been working so well on, is changing. Some of you may be asking if you have established SEO motions, like where is my SEO? What do I do now? Is SEO dead? Do I need to optimize for GEO, AEO? Do I change altogether? So I'm really excited to present some strategies here today that are going to shed some light and clarity on how to think about SEO, AEO, how to think about AI search, and how it can still fit into your business marketing mix. So I'm Mike Nesselbeck, founder of DemandLift, formerly DemandPath. I'm just going through a soft rebrand right now. But I've been in the SEO space for about 10 years. And at DemandLift, we specialize in helping tech, e-com, and professional services grow through SEO and content marketing. We've been able to get some pretty significant results over the years for our clients. And these are just some of the happy clients and logos we've been able to work with. This is, as I was mentioning earlier, this is kind of the state of SEO right now. Like, what do we call it? Is it GEO? Is it AI search? Is it AEO? And what I really want you to think about today is how things aren't changing as much as you think it is. While there is behaviors that are changing, there is still a lot of money to be made in AI search. There's still a lot of revenue to capture. There's still tons of people who are looking for a solution that they'll pay money for. So it just becomes of how do we really approach this from a tactical and strategic standpoint, which we'll be getting into later here. You'll see me use the terms AEO and SEO quite a bit. Just for simplification, I'm going to be referencing AEO to kind of capture AI search, GEO, AIO, all those other acronyms for simplicity, and with SEO kind of encompassing it all. How we're thinking about SEO with a lot of our clients we're working with that we're seeing results in is a super high quality foundation with SEO is driving the results for AIO or AEO. Obviously, there's some changes in tactics and levers that are happening there, but what I'm seeing with AI search is a lot of the more spammy tactics, more gray area, black hat tactics with SEO are really falling to the wayside. What is really working and what is continuing to work, even with big shifts in LLM models, is a really high quality SEO strategy, focusing on the high quality tactics. And we'll get into that into a bit here. Like I mentioned, the philosophy here stays the same. We want to provide value to our target market where they are searching. So it doesn't matter if they pulled up a Yellow Pages book, they're Googling, or they're asking chat. We want to be there, and people are still requiring that information that we can provide. Some of it is going away, and we'll get into that into a little bit, but there is still tons of content and value companies can provide to these LLM models as they continue to retrain and look to surface products and services people are searching for. But no doubt there's been an incredible impact. We're seeing with Google anywhere from a 30 to 50% drop in organic clicks to people's websites directly because of AI overviews. AI overviews are also taking up a huge chunk of search results these days. Google also just released AI mode last week, so I anticipate this is going to grow further, and with 1 to 3 billion monthly users on ChatGPT. So how search was is going to be changing. This is some of the industry specifics here. Basically, every industry is being hit pretty hard. Some industries more than others. Really interesting. I'm wondering what's going to happen to real estate this year. At 4.5%, I do anticipate that's going to grow. But there's varying degrees of how AI overviews is impacting your business. And I think keep this in mind for your specific industry. If you're in the latter half here, you do still have opportunity to rank the classic 10 blue links, focusing on Google versus chat. If you're in this top half here, the behavior has changed quite a bit, and you need to really be ahead of the game. This is what used to kind of work, or what used to did work. People would search a keyword or phrase, they'd get the 10 blue links, they may select from the top 5 options, and then they'd go on to their purchasing decision, either going to their website, filling out that contact form, booking that demo, or buying that product online and getting it shipped to their house. But this is all really changing because now people are asking AI for, they're inputting a question or a phrase. It could be a really long tail, highly specific. The AI model is now synthesizing this using different inputs than what previous search engine used to use. They'll get a synthesized answer. It's much less than the 10 links that were provided previously. And this can change. There's lots of change going on right now. But really, at the end of the day, the user is acting on the information provided by the AI versus with traditional search, there was a lot more research that a user would do and a lot more investigation. So we're seeing some of that takeaway here. So like I mentioned, the changing model, people search, there's a retrieval phase. Basically what we're optimizing for is that retrieval phase. And then people get a few options. They may or may not do more research. They may just act on those initial options. This is data that came out actually 2 days ago, super interesting. We can see on the left here, this is AI mode in Google. When people receive an AI mode answer, they are much more likely to take it as is. However, if it's in an AI overview, Google with the AI overview at the top and the links at the bottom, they do more research. They're scrolling up and down, they're clicking on other links, they're investigating. So as we think about AI mode and chat, the behaviors are different. People are much more willing to take it as is, versus with the AI overview, we're seeing a lot more, I guess, like shopping behavior, research behavior than previous. So this is really good to translate to your industry. If you're seeing more users in AI mode, it's going to be a little more cutthroat for your SEO, AEO strategy. If let's say you're in the real estate space and AI overviews are just starting to creep in, there's still a huge amount of research people are doing. So you can kind of adjust how you are approaching that as aggressively as other industries would. Another interesting stat here is ChatGPT only handles around 6.3% of Google's volume. So obviously chat's important. We need to optimize for that. But what I'm finding is people are thinking about optimizing for chat over Google. And I'm still finding, even from my client sites, that Google's still king when it comes to driving traffic that's going to convert. Though we can't ignore this, so we need to optimize it, and we'll get into that in a bit. But like I mentioned, Google's king, ChatGPT is next. They're gaining billions by the year in terms of usage. So we need to optimize for high quality SEO and AI search. I think having that clarity is going to put to the wayside if you need to throw out your SEO strategy with the baby with the bathwater kind of thing. But focusing on high quality SEO, layering on the tactics for ChatGPT is really going to make the second half of this year here much more focused for you. So short term, Google is king. But what do we do now? Well, I keep mentioning this. Really high quality SEO does drive AEO results. From what I'm seeing from the data from AirOps here, they are an SEO AEO tool. 43% of ChatGPT references come from that #1 spot. And as we can see, the #1 page, it plays a really important role for being cited in AI search. So really good SEO, ranking really high, still provides a lot of value in AI search engines. Like I mentioned earlier, Google is still sending tons and tons of traffic. I see, typically on my client sites around 10 to 20x in actual traffic to your website versus chat. So while some of it is immeasurable, people looking up ChatGPT and finding your brand and then doing a direct brand search, the stuff we can analyze is Google is still the site that sends a lot of visitors to your site, and we still need that. We still need conversions. We still need to fire those remarketing pixels and get people understanding the brand. Top of funnel traffic is being totally wiped out. AI overviews, ChatGPT responses, basically take away the need for companies to write on this information. Unless you have a multi-million-dollar SEO budget, I would definitely cut top of funnel from your SEO strategies. This is a picture from HubSpot from a marketing tool called Ahrefs. We can see over the past year, over the past 6, 12 months, they've seen a huge change in the traffic as well as the value there. So I do give this as a caveat to my clients, is, do not invest in top funnel traffic anymore. The AI overviews are getting so good at answering that people, if you do even look at your own behavior, you get a response from, let's say, some small business ideas, and you may just look at the AI overview and then take that and run with it. So lots of change in terms of how people are digesting information and staying within the platform. Okay, now some of the exciting stuff. So a lot of these are going to be baked into the next 2 strategies I'm going to be talking about, but at a high level, this is what I'm seeing is really working. And a lot of this actually really bakes into a really strong SEO strategy. Like, you should be having well-structured content, brand authority, using structured data on your website, and having online source diversity and depth in your topics. So when we think about how this changes things, it just basically sheds away those more spammy tactics that people would use in their SEO strategy. No more buying links on Fiverr, even though that hasn't worked in a few years, or other just really low-hanging fruit that didn't really move the needle that much. AI search is really looking to serve the best companies, and how do we get shown by that is through a couple strategies here. So the first strategy I want to go over is domain authority dominance. Domain authority is, well, it's a metric that's been measured in SEO for years. I think it extends far beyond just a number that you'll get from Moz or SEMrush or Ahrefs, one of these SEO tools. Domain authority is basically how authoritative your brand and your website is online. So we can think about this for classic like SEO link building. SEO link building builds domain authority. And also a massive online presence, but this does shift with AI search. So when we think about domain authority, we want to think about how we're being referenced with PR, media companies, online communities, niche websites, and other adjacent businesses that support your business's online presence. So this is an example of one of my clients, TeamLink. They have a huge backlink profile from a previous SEO motion that they've built into their company. But it's this really high quality backlink profile that they focused on with not buying links, getting PR, using their software to help them build links with their clients and these kind of things that they've been able to get results in AI overviews and ChatGPT without a change in strategy. So if you were to look up this top sports team management software for their rec league, they are a sports management software. They surface extremely well. And that is due basically because of their really strong domain authority. Here's another example. So I just put in, what are the top producing or best results for commercial real estate investment. Just hoping to get a short list of some ideas here. And we can see Blackstone is referenced there, but not from their actual website. They're referenced from Club Property Marketplace, like a third-party directory. So this goes right back to some of the high-quality SEO tactics I was talking about. Is we want to get links, we want to get references from websites where we may have potential customers and our target market is searching. So obviously, Club Property Marketplace has carved out a space in the commercial real estate area, and they list these companies, and it's obviously a reputable list that Blackstone is included in. Anyone else running a commercial firm would probably want to be included in as well. All right, a couple more tactics here. So directory and listicles, just what I touched on with that last example. Here's an example with client mine, 7 Shifts at the bottom there. But they reached out to this website who published, best restaurant scheduling software. So this is technically SEO link building, just at a more higher quality viewpoint. We want to be included in the conversation where people are evaluating. So this helps their domain authority. They get the link. They also get the reference and citation if this page gets pulled into results when people are looking for best restaurant scheduling software. Tactic 2, and this is really more so if you're running a software, a new tech company, new AI startup, building SEO link building into your company in a natural way. So this company here, iorders.ca, they work with restaurants to provide a restaurant ordering platform and a website that can support their business. And through every new client they sign on, they get this powered by iorders.ca backlink to iorders.ca. And this natural acquisition of links helps power their domain authority, and ultimately is going to help support their AI search, exactly like I showed with that team link example. Number 3 is linkable assets. So content marketing is not dead, and neither is research and thought leadership. Linkable assets are kind of like, well, the chef's kiss right now in terms of positioning your company as a thought leader, providing value for your target audience, and giving yourself a chance at being referenced outside of your niche where you probably couldn't get referenced. So here's Cushman Wakefield from Saskatoon we worked with a few years ago. They produced a national retail report, mixed results, but did get some decent backlinks from this. These links were on publications that they wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. So real estate publications focused in the commercial real estate investment space. The other side of it, they would have had to probably pay $3,000 to $5,000 for that sponsored listing and post there. So this positions them as a retail or as a thought leader. They get the backlinks from important websites that they probably couldn't build elsewhere. And this helps build their domain authority as well as their topical authority. All right, another content marketing example here, using useful information for your target market. So this is still a tactic that's been used for traditional SEO, still very valuable today. I put together this for my client. They work in the equipment rental space. And so we put together a guide on amalgamating public data of profitable construction equipment that businesses can rent out. Picked up a ton of links and references, and it's useful for our target market. So not only does this help build domain authority, we do get search traffic from this. It's an asset that can be used on LinkedIn and email marketing as well too. So really thinking about how we're using high quality SEO tactics to really bake in SEO as an integrated channel for AI search is really what the goal is here, and how some of these previous tactics are still working today. All right, this is a new one, tactic number 5, external content platform. So we do all this work in optimizing our brand to get referenced, but only about 52% of references are from brand domains. The other 48% comes from UGC content. So this is your Reddits, your YouTubes, your Wikipedia, LinkedIn, Facebook, niche forums, niche podcasts, and other areas where there is a UGC content motion. This is where I'm keep mentioning SEO needs to be an integrated marketing channel, as if you have a YouTube strategy, that can also feed into your AI search strategy, and they need to be communicating together. Where I am seeing things kind of fall to the wayside is, for instance, Reddit. Reddit's picked up a ton of popularity. I have seen companies dive in and invest in Reddit when their target market isn't even there. They're just trying to get cited and used by Reddit. But not integrating Reddit as a channel for actual marketing and talking to their target customers. So please don't get that confused with using UGC. If your target market isn't on Reddit or they're not on LinkedIn, there is other UGC places you can go and spend time and invest in as a marketing channel that feeds your AI search. So they do need to complement each other. All right, tactic 6, this is an extremely important one. I think one everyone can take away today and begin working on. It's your online description management. So this is basically, again, traditional SEO link building. We want to get links from directories like Clutch, from Reddit, from Commercial Mortgages Canada. But we also want to make sure our company description, when we're listed in these areas, if we can control it, is the same. We want to have the same positioning across all platforms. The reason for that is LLMs are referencing your company based on potentially what your competitors are saying, what they found elsewhere online about you, and your website, potentially. And so if your description of your business across these different platforms is all over the place, if your positioning is all over the place, your result in AI search will be all over the place. So making sure you're building links in these directories, in these websites that have those best lists, comparisons, where people are showing up to talk about you, is going to be really important, and kind of a low-hanging fruit I'm seeing with companies right now. As you can see, this really feeds into brand management, brand reputation management. So again, it further supports the need for SEO to be more of a integrated marketing channel. All right, tons of info there. This is strategy 2. So I'm presenting 2 strategies here today. It's a lot of SEO work, it's a lot of marketing work, obviously, but this is where I'm seeing, focusing on these 2 areas with a 6 to 12 month time frame can really build up basically your AI search moat. I'm not seeing a lot of companies do both. So presenting and doing both, I think, is going to really build some defensibility in your strategy here. So topical dominance, really similar to SEO topics around topical dominance as well, topical authority, is basically having a massive content program and website work, whether that's landing pages, blogs, research papers, that ladders up and shows you as an authority for your niche, for your business. So this is a pretty standard traditional SEO topical authority map. You have your main topic, you build out all your subtopics, your entities, your FAQs, and basically what this would leave you with is hundreds to thousands of blog posts, landing pages, and things like that for various questions, answers. The way we're rolling this out is changing, but the core concepts and the fundamentals of this is the same, basically. So I'll get into that into a little bit here. This is a regular SEO approach, taking, like, let's say, commercial real estate as our top topic, and is breaking down into pillars, sub-content pieces, and those kind of things. So how I'm seeing this change with AI search is there's going to be tons of more long-tail content that we can fit in there. Kind of gone are the days of the ultimate guide, 1,500 to 2,000, 3,000 words for an SEO post to rank for these kind of keywords. What's happening is the people that are providing highly specific and original information around these topics are winning. So I think I'm placing a huge bet actually on the 500 to 700 word blog post targeting really long tail keywords, anywhere from 7 to 21 keywords in a phrase. All right, tactic 2. Like I mentioned earlier, the top funnel is basically dead unless you have a crazy marketing budget. So really, all my clients right now are focusing on mid-funnel and bottom funnel. And I think this is a huge area for basically every business, even today. So middle funnel is targeting people that are problem aware but solution agnostic. They know they have to deal with their problem. They just maybe not know what the solutions are out there or how to solve it completely. There is the bottom funnel as well, and that is people that are problem aware and they are solution aware and solution searching. So when we look at a breakdown of your market, this is probably like 40%. So much time has been spent in the top funnel, I believe, because it targets that sweet, sexy 100% number of your market. But this is where I'm seeing people win with a concentrated effort. This is just a quick example of topical authority. We can see from FlowSpace here, I haven't worked with them, but they built out a bunch of different blogs. Some of it top funnel, some of it is middle funnel for if you work in like e-commerce fulfillment. We can see here they just publish tons of content around that. Another example here for bottom funnel. So this is Push Operations. I think they have a Vancouver office. But what they do for their software in terms of building out bottom funnel is basically building out pages for every single piece of their software solution. So they have the solutions, they have their industries, pricing, integrations, and if you're going to their resource hub, they do have quite a bit of bottom funnel content there as well too. Like I was mentioning earlier, the long tail is where things are going in terms of AI mode and chat. Typically, keyword length and frequency was about 2 to 5 words. This is expanding even up to like more than 21 words with 30% of that captured in chat. So people have very specific problems that they want answered that Google regular results aren't answering. AI overviews are beginning to answer those. But there's huge money, I think, to be made in a business case now for writing really long, highly specific content, 500 to 700 words in length, getting away from that ultimate guide to target these people's pain points and problems. Another data point that supports this is heading match drives citation rate. So let's say we have a phrase 8 words long. We can use that exact phrase, that exact pain point as the heading on the page. What this going to do is help drive your AI citation rate. With ChatGPT, they look for the exact heading to capture the content. So this is kind of back to like 2015 SEO in terms of how we're optimizing for headings. But this is what I mean, and this data also supports that 500 to 700 word blog post motion where we're targeting really long tail phrases that have the exact match of what that phrase is. All right, so you're probably wondering how the heck do you get some of these phrases? You're probably sitting on some decent data right now. So if you head over to Google Search Console for your website, you can go to Performance, Filter by Queries, and you can use this regex down here. And these slides will be available after the event. I'll talk with Jackie about that. But if you put that in, this is going to spit out phrases and words that you're currently ranking for that have 7+ words with it. So this is a good starting point. You may be ranking on the first page for some of these, I bet you're probably ranking on the second or third page for some others. That would be a great starting point for long tail content that is highly specific to what people are searching. Yeah, I didn't see this a year ago when you use these regexes. So obviously, AI data is getting fed into Search Console pretty actively. All right, the second one here is setting up Bing Webmaster Console. I never thought I'd say that, but you can head over to their AI performance point, and they actually have AI data. They give you your grounding queries along with citations. So this is a really good free baseline in terms of how are you showing up in Microsoft Copilot and partners without spending a total fortune on tools to tell you that. So I guess with this too, a tactic you can use, you can go to the performance, AI performance portion. It's going to give you your grounding queries. This is where you're going to want to potentially start mapping your queries to your prompts or mapping your previous money keywords to your prompts. So this is where AI search is changing. People aren't just using keywords to search, they're using phrases. And your previous keywords translate into phrases. This is used by the LLM models using a tactic called query fanout. Highly technical. I'm using it because you can go home and search that and find some stuff that can help you build out your query fanout. But it's basically to uncover what are the prompts that people are searching in AI related to your main keywords. So this is an exercise I go through with all my clients where we've been targeting all these keywords over the past years. How does this map to prompts? And how does this map to problems that people have, maybe even above that level? So this is where we get into prompt targeting, developing out landing pages specific to that, and all that good stuff. Things are changing with how we measure SEO, AEO. No longer can we really rely on rankings because with this data here, we can see if you were to run the same prompt 2 to 5 times, the times you get cited multiple times or the same amount of times, basically it keeps heading down, less than 13% by the time you run it over 5 times. So the reliability of saying, hey, I'm in second in this pack for this prompt is not a realistic reality. So what we need to be focusing on is, one, mentions. How often are we mentioned in AI search? This is where your brand is specifically mentioned but has no link. And the second is citations. So the citation is where you're cited and you actually have a source URL that's tied back to that. So with the online reputation management, you can be cited from other websites, like we saw with that commercial real estate investment example. Those citations count towards this metric as well too. So it's not just your website that's being cited, it's also your brand on other people's websites that are being cited as well too. This is where that UGC motion, those listicles and link building really comes in. I hope I was able to shed some light on a couple SEO strategies you guys can begin implementing today. The industry's been changing so fast. I feel like I updated this slide deck 10 times this month already. So I hope you're able to get some clarity on what is AI search, how it's changing, how you can really have some takeaways that are tied back to your current SEO strategy. Basically, so you have clarity about all this noise that's going on in LinkedIn is it's just that, it's noise. And there is a real path forward, and there is still tons of revenue being driven through these AI search platforms. So this is what I'm feeling like right now. I hope you're able to get some good takeaways. And thank you all.
I think some of us probably saw in Marketing Live the announcement that the search box is going away and it's all going to be AI mode now. And they just did that 2 days ago, so obviously we don't expect it to be in our slides. But would it be fair to guess that optimizing for that new model of search sort of automatically gets you optimizing for GPT as well?
Yes. And we're seeing the behavior to be really similar as well. From the data I showed with AI mode of people take that short list for verbatim, we're seeing that in chat as well too. And similarly, if you're ranking in that #1 position in previous, you're being pulled very high up into that AI mode, which is also supporting that response in ChatGPT to be quite high as well. I do think just on that as well too, I have thought Google still has a big problem to roll that out as much as they do because I think 40% of their business is on that paid ad side. So I am seeing some of that being injected into AI mode already for anyone who's running ads. But I think they're going to be really sensitive about how much they turn that dial as we go down the funnel. If we search up really high intent converting keywords like someone's ready to buy, you're going to see probably less of them moving that dial and more of them trying to promote people to go to the websites. But yeah, with AI mode, anything middle funnel up is up for grabs.
Does your social presence have any influence on like the ranking that you get with these AI search engines, or is that not really considered kind of like a reputable source when they're gathering information?
That's a really great question. Where I'm seeing social media really feed into things is in that more like integrated SEO approach. So yes, I do think it is influencing how you are showing up, more so in the mentions or citations. So I think this goes back to your like domain authority example. If you're really popular on LinkedIn and your LinkedIn is where your target audience is, that has a really good chance of being pulled into LLM models and being cited and mentioned.
Can you give some more detailed tips on website content development for professional services in terms of, like, I understand you're trying to get more specifics in there and use the phrases as headlines. Is there anything else that you could suggest both for the homepage and then for the subsequent pages?
And what is your business?
I'm a strategic partner.
Okay. What I'm seeing work really well with that is, so you have your homepage, you have that targeted, you have, and building out service pages, so for each of your services. Seeing if you can go like one deeper layer than that. If you have any like subset of services within those services, building out those would be really useful as well. That will capture really long tail keywords. Also thinking about buyer decision content. So if you think about the conversations you have, like in a sales conversation or a customer success conversation with, before someone becomes a client or right after someone becomes a client, there is questions that people probably have that come up over and over again. Beginning there with probably your content marketing would also support that as well too, because we're seeing a lot of people use AI engines to basically ask the sales questions and customer success questions pre and post working with a company before or just ongoing. Yeah.
Are there any measurement tools that you recommend to check how we're doing on AI?
That's a really great question. So a caveat, a lot of the tools are extremely expensive right now. I'm waiting for some of these prices to come down or for better solutions to be put in place. And I'd say it's really dependent on your current infrastructure. So if you have HubSpot CRM, HubSpot offers their AEO tool upgrade for $50 a month. That's the most affordable and the most accurate I've seen for that price point. Beyond there, Profound is pretty good. That's when we're starting to get into like the $500 a month for anything decent. And then AirOps is another one. I referenced a ton of their data today. I have a couple clients on them. That's like 15 grand a year. It's pretty expensive. So Profound would be probably the most high quality one. HubSpot AEO. I would just say as a caveat, I've been thinking about this, is be careful what tools you use. What I've seen is people's tools get influenced by the API that they're using and plugging in if it's not set up properly. So I've seen people's basically output get influenced by the other companies that are onboarding to these tools, and it becomes a total mess. So just be really careful because a lot of these are vibe coded up and can give you wrong signal direction.
When it comes to PR, I know that earned media has a role. Is there any type of media that it's moving a little more? You mentioned podcast, because we were used to traditional publications, but maybe now a newsletter or a podcast have more importance when it comes to dominance and moving the needle. So I wanted to know your point of view on that topic.
Yeah, I still think earned media plays a huge role. So obviously SEO is integrating as a channel. You need to do PR. I would say on what sites it really has changed. We used to just think if we get a New York Times placement, we're good for the year. That's not the case anymore. It needs to be like that super niche media company that talks about your space only. That's where I'm seeing more of the relevancy, and it's those like directory sites that are related to that get pulled in when they're referencing brands. If podcasts are on things like YouTube, I'm super bullish on that because I think YouTube is going to be another huge driver of information for AI search as Google tries to dominate. YouTube's the second biggest search engine outside of Google.
One of the things that you mentioned was to move away from top funnel. And I'm just wondering what those tactics are to kind of maybe lighten up on and where you would recommend to kind of move to instead.
Yeah, it's a great question. So moving away from top funnel, I think the question I always go back to is this a high quality tactic that is something I wouldn't be doing if it was just for SEO alone? I think that's probably a really dependent question on what you're implementing, and I'd ask that every single time. For instance, in previous, when we wanted to increase our rankings, we could go and get links from a bunch of different websites that may not even be that relevant, but let's say we get a link from Facebook's blog. That would be a ton of value on a traditional SEO standpoint. But when it comes to like AI search, that's not going to probably move the needle in you getting cited and mentioned. So I think moving away from some of those other tactics that drove SEO value but didn't make much like business sense is the question to be asked on like every tactic we're implementing. A lot of it is still like that high quality SEO. So if we're thinking 12 months out and we still think this tactic is going to work, then I think that is kind of the couple questions to analyze there. Awesome. I think that's all the questions we have for today. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your time.